Hello there, Guy here from Millward Music. Today we're looking at the tune Miss MacDermott, also known as the Princess Royal. As far as I can tell, it's attributed to the Irish harper Tenor Ó Faoláin around 1725 and is thought to have been written in honour of a daughter of the Macdara Ó family, who were among his patrons. You'll find it in Edward Bunting's The Ancient Music of Ireland, published in 1840. I should say the attribution isn't completely settled and there is some debate about its origins, so please don't take that as gospel. I was first taught this tune by Macdara Ó Faoláin, and if you don't know his playing, it's really inspirational, so do check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. We'll be using G minor shapes here with the capo on the 4th fret, so we'll be sounding in B minor, but as usual I'll refer to the strings and frets as if there is no capo on the instrument. Tabs and notation for the A part are available as a free download in the description, and the complete lesson, including the B part, is over on the website. Let's begin by looking at the rhythm. I'll be honest, I went back and forth a bit on the time signature before landing on 4/4, and I thought it was worth sharing what I learned along the way. So after transcribing the tune using a few different time signatures and rhythm types, and not being entirely satisfied with any of them, I went and asked Macdara. He told me that the tune is what's known as a planxty, which is a tune written in honour of someone, and in this case it doesn't really have a specific tune type in the way that a reel or a jig would. He suggested that a march is probably the closest rhythm type, and that he would typically write it out in 4/4. The bit I found really interesting is that the slightly free, expressive quality that the tune can be played with comes from something called rubato. So rubato is an Italian term meaning stolen time, where you slow down or speed up slightly within the phrase for musical effect rather than keeping a completely strict pulse throughout. The pulse is still there underneath, but it's flexible rather than rigid. So that's how I've transcribed it, as a march in 4/4 time with the rubato to be used at the player's discretion. 4/4 essentially means that we have 4 quarter notes per measure, which gives us 4 beats per measure. Most beats contain a single quarter note, but you'll also notice some pairs of 8th notes where we have 2 notes fitting into the space of 1 beat. So one measure of quarter notes I'll count as 1, 2, 3, 4, and one measure of 8th notes I'll count as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We'll use a down-up-down picking pattern throughout, though the slower tempo does allow for deviations away from that based on how it feels when you're playing it. Without further ado then, let's get into the A part. I'll begin here by playing the A part through slowly, leaving out any chords or ornamentation for now, so we can hear just the melody. Looking at the first line then, we've got a couple of pickup notes which lead into the first 2 measures of music. I'll go ahead and play the first line then in its entirety. And if I just count that out, it can make it a little bit more clear. We have 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So starting then with the pickup notes, we have 2 8th notes which we'll count as 4 and that will lead us into the first measure proper. So for those we have our first string open, followed by our second string 3rd fret. So that's 4 and. Looking at the first measure then, we have and counting that out, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. And if if we break that down then, so for the count 1, 2 and, we're going to have our second string first fret, followed by second string open, followed again by second string first fret. So that's 1, 2 and then for the 3, 4 and, we're going to have our third string fifth fret, followed by first string open, followed by second string third fret. So that's 3, 4 and then just putting those two together for that first measure, so we have 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Looking at the second measure then of line 1, we have and just counting that out, that's 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Breaking that down then, so for the first two counts, which is going to be 1 and 2 and, we have our second string first fret, followed by second string third fret, followed by second string open, followed by second string first fret. So that's 1 and 2 and then for the 3, 4, we're going to have our third string fifth fret, followed by first string open. 3, 4, and then just putting those two groups then together, so we have and counting that out, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so just putting that all together then, including the pickup notes for line 1, one more time. Moving on to line 2 then, I'll play that one through. Looking at the first measure here then, we have so breaking that down, so for the 1, 2 and, we're going to have, and that's going to be our first string first fret, followed by first string first fret again, followed by first string open. So 1, 2 and then for the 3, 4 and, we're going to have our second string third fret, followed by first string third fret, followed by first string first fret. So that's going to be 3, 4 and then if we just put those two together then for the first measure of line 2, that's so 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Looking at the second measure then of line 2, we have this. If I count that out, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and. So breaking that down then, so for the first half of this, which is going to be 1 and 2 and, so that's our first string open, followed by first string first fret, followed by second string third fret, followed by first string open. So that's 1 and 2 and then the second half is going to be we're going to have 3 and then it's going to be the and that comes after the 4. So what we've got here is going to be our second string first fret, and then it's going to be our first string open. So that's going to be 3 and, one more time, 3 and. Okay, so just putting those two halves together then for that second measure of line 2, we have so that's 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so putting those two measures together then for line 2, I'll play that through again. Just pay particular attention to the fingering that I'm using here. So we have and if I count that through as I play it, we have 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so let's just play through now what we have so far. So lines 1 and 2. Moving on to line 3 then, I'll play that one through first of all. We have and counting that one through, we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Looking at the first measure here then, we have so that's going to be 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and if we break that down then, so the 1, 2 and is going to be our second string 3rd fret, followed by second string 3rd fret again, and then second string 1st fret. So that's going to be 1, 2 and then for the 3 and 4 and, we have our second string open, followed by second string 1st fret, followed by second string open, followed by 3rd string 5th fret. 3 and 4 and. Okay, so putting those two groups together then, we have again that's going to be 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and for the second measure here then, we're going to have this. So that's going to be 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. So breaking that down then, so the 1 and 2 and, we're going to have our 3rd string 3rd fret, followed by 3rd string 5th fret, followed by 3rd string 1st fret, followed by 3rd string 3rd fret. Notice the fingering there, so we have so that's going to be 1 and 2 and. Okay, and then for the 3, 4 and, we're going to have, and that's going to sound like this, we have so we have our 3rd string open, followed by our 1st string open, followed by our 2nd string 3rd fret. So that's 3, 4 and then just putting those two groups together then, we have so again that's 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Let's put both of those measures together then for line 3, so we have so that's 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay, so let's just play now what we have so far. So lines 1, 2 and 3. So we have looking at the fourth and final line now of the A part. So I'll play this one through. We have and just counting that through, we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3, 4 and... Looking at the first measure here then, we have so that's going to be 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and... So looking at the 1, 2 and, that's going to be our second string first fret, followed by second string open, followed by third string fifth fret. So that's 1, 2 and then now looking at the 3 and 4 and, that's going to be our second string first fret, second string open, and then our third string fifth fret, and then our third string fourth fret. So that's going to be three and 4 and then for the second measure then of line 4, we're going to have this. So counting that out, we have 1, 3, 4 and... Okay, so breaking this down then. So for the 1, we've got our third string 5th fret. And then for the 3, 4 and, we're going to have our 4th string open, followed by our 1st string open, followed by our 2nd string 3rd fret. So that's... So 3, 4 and... Okay, and just putting those two groups together then for measure 2 of line 4, we have so that's going to be 1, 3, 4 and... Great stuff, so putting those two measures together then for line 4 of the A part, we have this. And just counting that through then one more time, we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3, 4 and that is the whole A part. So let's just play through that one more time. We have Usually when playing the tune, I'll play through the A part twice, followed by the B part twice, giving a common structure of A-A-B-B. The A part we've just looked at refers to the first time we play through this part. The second time we play through it will be exactly the same, all except for the last measure. So that's the second measure of line 4. So I'll now play through the alternate line 4 as it would be when we're going to connect it to the B part. And just counting that through then, we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay, so just breaking that down then. So the only part that actually changes from the first time that we play through the A part is going to be in the second measure here of this fourth line. So it's actually only going to be the second set of 2 beats that changes. I'll just play this whole second measure though first of all. So we have counting that out, we have 1, 3, 4. Okay, so breaking that down then, the only part that we're actually going to be changing is the notes which are over the last 2 beats of this line. So that's the second group of beats of the second measure. So here, for the whole measure there, the whole second measure, we have which is 1, 3, 4. Okay, so for the 1 we have our 3rd string 5th fret, and then the 3 and 4 we've got our 4th string open and our 1st string open. Okay, so that's going to be 1, 3, 4. So one more time then, putting those 2 measures together then for the alternate line 4 of the A part, we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3, 4. Okay, that's where we'll leave it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the A part of Miss MacDermott. If you'd like to carry on with the B part, along with some chord and ornamentation ideas, the full lesson is available on the website. You'll also find complete tabs and notation there, including a MuseScore Studio file. This is useful as it lets you play back the tune at any tempo and adjust the capo position to suit your instrument. If you've enjoyed this, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps out. Thanks for watching then, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.